Picture this, September 20th, 2005. Kate Moss wakes up to find her face plastered across every newspaper in Britain. But not for a Vogue cover or a Chanel campaign. No, this time it's grainy photos of her hunched over a table, rolling up a 20-pound note. "Cocaine Kate," screams the Daily Mirror. Within 72 hours, she loses everything. H&M drops her £4 million contract before lunch. Burberry's on the phone by dinner. Chanel doesn't even call. They just issue a statement. The girl who was untouchable, who'd been on 300 magazine covers, who'd redefined what beautiful meant for an entire generation. She's done. Finished. Career over at 31. Except, she wasn't. Because Kate Moss doesn't do anything the way she's supposed to. Never has. And the story of how she went from the most hated woman in fashion to signing 18 contracts in a single year? That's not just a comeback story. That's a masterclass in refusing to let the world write your ending. But to understand how Kate survived the unforgivable, you have to understand where she came from. Because long before she was snorting lines with rock stars, she was just a kid from Croydon who thought she was too ugly to be photographed. 1988, JFK Airport. Kate Moss is 14 years old, coming back from a family vacation in the Bahamas. She's not thinking about modeling. She's thinking about getting home to South London, to her working-class neighborhood where her mom works as a barmaid and her dad's an airline clerk, a neighborhood where divorce papers had split her family apart just a year earlier. And then this woman approaches her at the gate. Have you ever thought about modeling?
How did you get discovered? In JFK Airport, when I was 14 by my agent in London. And then that's it, I started doing it then. And I thought, you've been doing it for a while. Yeah, but I've never done any Runway before. It's my first season Runway.
It's Sarah Doukas from Storm Model Management. She's serious, dead serious. And Kate thinks it's a wind-up. Like, come on. Her? The girl who stopped taking family photos at 12 because she couldn't stand how she looked. But Sarah sees something. Maybe it's the cheekbones that could cut glass. Maybe it's the way Kate holds herself. All teenage awkwardness mixed with something indefinable. Maybe it's just Tuesday and Sarah needs to find someone new. Whatever it is, that moment in JFK changes everything. Within months, Kate's in London studios. Not the glamorous ones you're picturing. We're talking converted warehouses in Bermondsey. Photographers who smell like darkroom chemicals and yesterday's whiskey. She's doing test shots for free, learning how to move, how to find her light. Her mom's driving her to castings after finishing shifts at the pub. They're taking 3 buses to get to go-sees because taxis are for people with money. Kate's wearing clothes from charity shops, trying to look modelish in someone else's thrown-away blazer. The rejection letters pile up. Too short, too young, too something. But here's what those rejection letters missed. Kate Moss was never trying to be what they wanted. She couldn't if she tried. She was just this kid from Croydon who moved differently, who couldn't fake the Amazon thing even if someone paid her. And it turned out that's exactly what the 90s were about to need. 1990, London. Kate gets her first real break, and it's not what anyone expects. Not some glossy fashion spread or a runway show. It's the Face magazine, the Bible of British youth culture, and a photographer named Corinne Day who sees something everyone else missed. The photos are different. Kate's on a beach, no makeup, hair messy from the sea wind. She looks young because she is young, barely 16. She looks vulnerable because Corinne doesn't let her hide behind anything. No shoulder pads, no power poses, none of that 80s supermodel armor. When the issue hits stands, the fashion world doesn't know what to do with it. Is this fashion? This skinny teenager who looks like she just rolled out of bed? Where's the glamour? Where's the fantasy? But young people get it immediately. Kate looks like them, like their girlfriend, their sister, like someone real. And suddenly every photographer in London wants to shoot the girl who's too short to model. Then comes 1992, the call that changes everything. Calvin Klein wants her for obsession. The Calvin Klein. The brand that made Brooke Shields a star, that turned underwear into high art. They're flying her to New York, first class this time. But when Kate shows up to set, she realizes what kind of shoot this is. Mark Wahlberg's there, all muscles and boxer shorts. The photographer is Herb Ritz, And the vibe? It's intense, sexual. They want her topless, pressed against Mark, selling perfume through pure sex. Kate's 18th. Barely. And something about this shoot, the way they position her, the way they tell her to look at the camera, it feels wrong. But she does it, because that's what you do when Calvin Klein calls. You shut up and you model. The ads explode across the world. Suddenly, Kate Moss isn't just a British model who's too short. She's the face of the 90s. That waif look everyone said wouldn't sell? It's selling everything: perfume, jeans, a whole new idea of what sexy means. But behind closed doors, those obsession ads nearly killed her career before it started. Nobody talks about what happens after the camera stops clicking. Kate goes back to her hotel room after that Calvin Klein shoot, and something inside her just breaks. She can't explain it, can't even get out of bed the next morning. The stylist is calling, there's another shoot scheduled, but Kate physically cannot move. "I thought I was going to die," she'd say years later. At 17 years old, lying in some Manhattan hotel room, she genuinely believed her heart would stop from the anxiety. The agency doesn't know what to do. This is 1992. Nobody talks about mental health in fashion. You're either working or you're done. So they do what they always do. They book her more jobs, keep her busy, keep her moving, but the panic attacks don't stop. They just get quieter. Kate learns to hide them, develops tricks. She'll excuse herself to the bathroom, splash cold water on her face, force herself to breathe. She discovers that if she controls her own makeup, really controls it, does it herself, she feels less vulnerable. If she can decide how these are the stories that don't make it into Vogue. The teenager behind the Calvin Klein ads who's falling apart. The face of heroin chic who's never even touched heroin but is already drowning in something worse. The weight of becoming a symbol before you figured out who you are. Let's talk about the two words that would haunt Kate Moss for the rest of her life. Heroin chic. She didn't invent the term, didn't ask for it. The media created it, slapped it on her face, and suddenly Kate wasn't just a model, she was a movement. A dangerous one, apparently. See, Kate's look was everything the 80s wasn't. Where Cindy Crawford and Naomi Campbell were Amazonian goddesses with curves and power, Kate was, well, Kate. Pale, thin, those hollowed-out cheekbones that photographs loved. She looked tired in photos even when she wasn't, vulnerable, even when she was in control. Fashion ate it up. Suddenly, every magazine wanted that waif aesthetic. Photographers were booking girls who looked hungry, styling them in grungy clothes, shooting them in dingy apartments. It was anti-glamour as the new glamour. But here's what nobody bothered to ask Kate. Did she even do heroin? "I had never even taken heroin," she'd say later, the frustration still sharp in her voice decades later. "It was nothing to do with me at all. She was just thin, naturally. Had been since she was a kid. The same body type that got her teased in school was now being blamed for corrupting America's youth." Then, 1997 happens. President Bill Clinton, the leader of the free world, stands up at a podium and condemns the fashion industry for promoting heroin chic. Doesn't name Kate specifically, but he doesn't have to. Everyone knows whose face launched 1,000 think pieces. The backlash is swift. Parents' groups organize boycotts. Fashion magazines promise to use healthier models. Everyone's pointing fingers at the girl from Croydon who had the audacity to be naturally skinny and naturally successful. Kate's response? Nothing. She doesn't do a Terry Barbara Walters interview, doesn't hire a publicist to rehabilitate her image, doesn't even release a statement. But inside, she's screaming. How many times can you say, "I'm not anorexic," before people believe you? How many times can you insist you've never touched heroin before they stop calling you Heroin Kate? The fashion industry, meanwhile, keeps booking her because controversy sells, and Kate Moss wrapped in controversy sells even better. They'll publicly distance themselves from heroin chic while privately begging her agent for bookings. She watches all of this, the hypocrisy, the false concern, the way everyone profits off the image they claim to hate, and she learns something valuable. The world will create a story about you whether it's true or not. The only thing you can control is whether you give them more material. So Kate goes quiet, stops giving interviews almost entirely. If they're going to call her heroin chic anyway, why waste breath denying it? But that silence, that mystery, it only makes her more fascinating and more valuable. By the end of the 90s, she's not just surviving the heroin chic scandal, she's transcending it. Little does she know, the real scandal is still 8 years away. September 15th, 2005. Thursday night. Kate's in a West London recording studio with her boyfriend Pete Doherty, the Baby Shambles frontman who makes headlines for his crack addiction as much as his music. But tonight's just another night. Friends hanging out, music playing, drinks flowing. Someone brings out cocaine. This isn't shocking. It's 2005. It's a London recording studio. It's the music industry. Kate would later say what destroyed her. Everybody I knew took drugs. She leans over the table, rolls up a 20-pound note, takes 5 lines while someone, she doesn't even notice who, films on their phone. 5 lines, maybe 60 seconds of her life. 5 days later, September 20th, those 60 seconds are on the front page of the Daily Mirror. Cocaine Kate in massive letters. The photos are grainy but clear enough. That's definitely Kate Moss. That's definitely cocaine. That's definitely the end of her career. Her phone starts ringing at 6 a.m. and doesn't stop. By 10 a.m., H&M releases a statement. They're dropping her. That's £4 million a year, gone before lunch. By 2 p.m., Burberry's out. By evening, Chanel announces they won't be renewing her contract. Within 48 hours, the girl who was on 40 British Vogue covers, who was the face of luxury itself, is radioactive, toxic, untouchable. The tabloids go into overdrive. They're camping outside her house, following her daughter Lila to school. The same papers that celebrated Cool Kate are now asking if she's a fit mother. There's talk of social services getting involved. They might take her 3-year-old daughter away. Think about that. Not just losing your career, losing your child, because of 5 lines at a party. Kate releases a statement. 2 sentences. I take full responsibility for my actions. I also accept that there are various personal issues that I need to address and have started taking the difficult, yet necessary steps to resolve them. Corporate speak for, I'm going to rehab. But here's what the statement doesn't say. What Kate's feeling as she watches 20 years of work evaporate. The rage, the betrayal, the unfairness of it all. Because everybody she knew took drugs. Every party, every club, every fashion show after party. She watched rock stars do lines off supermodels' collarbones. She saw photographers so high they could barely hold their cameras. The entire industry was fueled by champagne and cocaine, and everyone knew it, but they needed a scapegoat, and who better than Kate Moss? Already controversial from the heroin chic days, dating a known addict, perfect for a public execution. I felt sick, she'd say 17 years later, the anger still fresh. I thought it was really hypocritical. But in September 2005, she can't say any of that. She can only pack a bag, kiss her daughter goodbye, and fly to Arizona, to the meadows, to rehab, to figure out how you come back from this. If you even can. October 2005. The Meadows, Arizona. While the British tabloids are having a field day with Cocaine Kate, the real Kate Moss is in the desert. The Meadows isn't some celebrity spa, it's serious rehab, group therapy, individual counseling, confronting not just the cocaine, but everything. The anxiety that started at 17, the pressure, the exhaustion of being Kate Moss. She's been here before, actually. 1998, London's Priory Clinic. Checked in for exhaustion after too many nights that bled into mornings. That time, she accidentally set her room on fire with a meditation candle. Even rehab was chaotic for Kate Moss. But this time's different. This time, her daughter might be taken away. This time, there might not be a career to return to. Back in London, something unexpected happens. Alexander McQueen, friend, genius, fellow rebel, walks his spring 2006 runway wearing a t-shirt. "We love you, Kate," in massive letters. It's a middle finger to the brands abandoning her, a reminder that fashion is supposed to be about art, not morality clauses. November 2005, Kate's out of rehab and back in London. Her agency, Storm, is fielding calls. Not angry calls, not lawsuit calls, booking calls. Apparently, while Middle England was clutching its pearls about Cocaine Kate, the fashion world was having a different conversation. The whispered one, the honest one. Is she available for spring campaigns? When can she shoot? We want Kate. Because here's fashion's dirty secret: scandal sells, redemption sells even better. And Kate Moss, fresh from the desert, clean and angry and ready, that's the story everyone wants to tell. December 2005. French Vogue dedicates an entire issue to her. The cover line? Scandalous beauty, not hiding from the controversy, embracing it. Inside, Kate looks better than ever, defiant, unbroken. The bookings flood in. Not just 1 or 2 tentative offers, 18 contracts for spring-summer 2006. 18, more than she had before the scandal. Rimmel brings her back. Virgin Mobile signs her. Roberto Cavalli can't book her fast enough. Even Dior, who stayed silent during the scandal, suddenly needs Kate Moss desperately. June 2006. The police announce they're not pressing charges. Case closed. Kate Moss is officially, legally clear. November 2006. The British Fashion Awards. The same industry that nearly destroyed her votes her Model of the Year. She accepts the award in a gold dress, says thank you, and says nothing else. What is there to say? The numbers tell the story. £30 million in contracts by 2007. The girl who lost everything for 5 lines of cocaine is now worth more than ever. But Kate knows something the public doesn't. Something the fashion world doesn't want to admit. They didn't take her back because they forgave her. They took her back because controversy is currency. And Kate Moss covered in scandal is worth more than Kate Moss playing it safe ever was. They tried to take my daughter away, she'd later reveal. The one thing that could have truly broken her. But they didn't succeed. Just like H&M didn't succeed in ending her career. Just like the tabloids didn't succeed in shaming her into hiding. Kate Moss doesn't break. She bends, she transforms, she evolves. But she doesn't break. Still, something fundamental shifted in that desert rehab. The party girl who lived for chaos? She's done. The woman who emerges is quieter, more guarded, more careful. She beat them. But the cost was higher than any contract could cover. 2007 onwards. Kate Moss is back on top, but watch closely. Something's different. The woman who used to stumble out of Primrose Hill parties at dawn, laughing while paparazzi snapped away? She's gone. In her place is someone more calculated. Still Kate, but with walls now. Thick ones. She still works. The contracts keep coming. That Topshop collaboration in 2007 sells out in literal hours. Women camping outside stores to dress like Kate Moss. She launches perfumes, becomes a contributing editor at British Vogue, starts her own talent agency. The model becomes the mogul. But the wildness, the beautiful chaos that made her Kate, that's been carefully packaged and sold, but never truly lived anymore. I can't do it anymore, she tells friends. The late nights, the strangers, the scene. It's not fun when you know everyone's filming, waiting for you to mess up again. When you know that one wrong move and they'll try to take your daughter again. She can't win, so she stops trying to. The parties get replaced with business meetings. The rock star boyfriends get replaced with a marriage to Jamie Hintz, stable, quieter, boring by Kate standards. But in 2022, something shifts. Maybe it's age. She's 48 now. Maybe it's watching her daughter Lila start modeling, seeing that cycle begin again. Maybe she's just tired of being angry. She knows now what she didn't know in that recording studio in 2005, that there were 2 sets of rules, one for everyone else and one for Kate Moss, that the same edge that made her millions would be used to destroy her the second it went too far. Kate Moss is still here, still working, still iconic. Her daughter's on magazine covers now, continuing the legacy. Fashion students study her career like a masterclass in longevity. The girl who redefined beauty at 14, who survived heroin chic without ever touching heroin, who built herself back from nothing at 31. She won. By any measure, she won. But winning in this world means becoming someone who can't afford to lose again, and that might be the biggest loss of all. Kate Moss doesn't break. We know that now. She transforms, she adapts, she survives. She just had to kill the best parts of herself to do it. And honestly, that's the real scandal. That's the real story. Not the cocaine, not the comeback. The fact that to survive being Kate Moss, she had to stop being Kate Moss. She's still here, still beautiful, still working, just never quite the same.